Many older adults believe eggs are the best sort of protein, but that's not entirely true. What if I told you the food ranked third on our list today contains more than 5 times the protein of eggs per 100 g? And that's still not the most powerful one because the number one item we'll reveal has even more, and it's currently being studied by researchers for its ability to help stroke patients rebuild lost muscle. Eggs have only about 13 grams of protein per 100 grams, and while that isn't bad, it's far from exceptional. What becomes even clearer is that relying on eggs alone means missing out on several foods that contain dramatically higher levels of protein. Foods that can support aging muscles more effectively than most people realize. Some of these foods have more than 5 times the protein that eggs contain. Imagine that. 5 times the muscle building potential in the same amount of food, yet barely 1% of seniors know about them or include them in their regular meals. The irony is that muscle loss after age 60 doesn't happen suddenly or dramatically. It slips in quietly. One misstep, a little more difficulty getting up from a chair, a bit less strength carrying groceries, or a small wobble while climbing stairs. Most people brush it off as normal aging, but what's actually happening is a slow decline in muscle fibers, a gradual shrinking of the very tissue that keeps you steady, strong, and mobile. Protein becomes essential not just for building muscle, but for protecting what remains. And because older bodies process protein less efficiently than younger bodies, the quality and quantity of that protein matter more than none. This is exactly why understanding better, more powerful protein sources can make such a meaningful difference. What even more fascinating is that the foods that outperform eggs aren't exotic, strange, or hard to find. They aren't luxury items. They're everyday foods, affordable, accessible, and sitting quietly on store shelves while people continue reaching for the same carton of eggs out of habit. Most seniors simply don't know that these alternatives exist, and they certainly don't know that some of them offer not only high protein, but additional benefits like anti-inflammatory nutrients, gut-supporting fiber, or amino acid profiles that are more complete than eggs themselves. The gap between what people believe about eggs and what science now shows about protein needs in older age is surprisingly large. Researchers have discovered that choosing the right protein sources can slow muscle loss, improve balance, enhance recovery, and even reduce this risk of falls, all major concerns for aging adults. Some of these foods are now being studied specifically for their ability to help stroke patients regain lost muscle tissue, something eggs alone could never achieve at the same level. Imagine how much strength could be protected simply by choosing foods that offer not 13 grams of protein, but 20, 30, even 60 grams per 100 grams. And said, okay, we'll give you 10 days. And I reckon that's a really good test. Let's just try it. And in 1 Thessalonians 5:21, the Bible says, prove all things. That's a challenge. Prove all things and hold fast of a much bigger, stronger fast. Many people are surprised to learn that chickpeas, something most of us look at as just a pantry filler or a simple ingredient in soups and salads, can actually play a meaningful role in preserving strength as we age. There's this long-standing belief that real muscle support won't come from animal proteins like eggs, chicken, or meat, and plant foods are somehow weaker or incomplete. But chickpeas quietly challenge that idea. With over 11 grams of protein per 100 grams when cooked, they surpass eggs, yet most older adults don't give them a second thought. What makes chickpeas even more interesting is that they provide more than just protein. They have fiber, minerals, and anti-inflammatory properties that eggs simply don't have, and those bonus benefits often matter just as much, sometimes even more, for someone over 60 trying to maintain muscle, energy, and mobility. As we get older, digestion slows down, inflammation increases, and gut health starts to affect everything from muscle strength to energy levels. Chickpeas naturally help with all of that. Their fiber nourishes good gut bacteria, stabilizes blood sugar, and supports better nutrient absorption. These might sound like small things, but they aren't. When inflammation drops and the gut becomes healthier, the body is able to hold on to more muscle instead of constantly breaking it down. That's exactly what researchers found when older adults replaced just some of their animal protein with legumes, like chickpeas. They experienced significantly less muscle loss. Not because chickpeas are magically strong, but because they create an internal environment where strength can be preserved more easily. Chickpeas also contain magnesium, a mineral older adults are often deficient in without realizing it. Magnesium affects muscle relaxation, recovery, sleep quality, and even energy production. Many seniors chalk up their fatigue, nighttime cramps, or stiffness to age, but often it's their nutrition quietly working against them. A food like chickpeas helps correct that naturally without supplements or complicated diets. And because chickpeas are gentle on digestion, especially when soaked before cooking, they become a realistic option for people who struggle with heavier proteins or find meat-based meals difficult to tolerate. What makes chickpeas even more valuable is how versatile they are.
They can be turned into hummus for those who struggle with chewing, roasted into crunchy snacks for those who need something easy or portable, or mixed into soups, stews, or curries to add body and richness without relying on high fat ingredients. For older adults who don't eat as much as they used to or have a smaller appetite, chickpeas are a way to increase protein intake without having to eat large portions. The real issue isn't that seniors don't want to eat better, it's that they often don't know which foods can actually make a difference in their strength and independence. They stick to eggs or chicken because that's what they've heard their whole lives. But the science is clear: plant based proteins and chickpeas can slow down muscle decline, reduce inflammation, support balance, and help people stay active longer. Chickpeas may look humble on the plate, but they have a surprising amount of support for aging bodies. Once someone understands that foods like these can work quietly and consistently in their favor, it becomes easier to imagine a future where staying strong doesn't feel like a losing battle, but a practical, achievable path, one meal at a time. Pumpkin seeds are one of those foods people walk past 100 times without realizing how much power they hold, especially for someone over 60 trying to maintain strength and mobility. They look tiny, almost insignificant, and because of that, most older adults never think to include them in their diet.
But these small green seeds offer nearly 19 grams of protein per 100 grams, far more than eggs, and that alone would make them valuable. What makes them truly impressive, though, is everything that comes packaged with that protein. They aren't just a protein source. They're a concentrated bundle of minerals, anti-inflammatory compounds, and muscle-supporting nutrients that quietly work together in ways most people don't expect. When the body ages and muscle tissue naturally becomes more vulnerable, foods like pumpkin seeds step in almost as a protective pacer. One of the most important minerals inside pumpkin seeds is magnesium. Many seniors have low magnesium levels without noticing until symptoms become too obvious to ignore. Muscle cramps at night, fatigue during the day, stiff joints, restless sleep, or a sense of weakness when standing or walking. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation and recovery, helps regulate nerve function, improves sleep quality, and stabilizes energy production. When someone in their 60s or 70s finally begins adding magnesium-rich foods like pumpkin seeds to their routine, they often realize how much of their discomfort wasn't just aging, but subtle nutritional imbalances that had been building for years. Pumpkin seeds also contain zinc and iron, two minerals that support muscle repair and oxygen flow. When muscles don't get enough oxygen, even simple activities like walking or climbing stairs begin to feel more tiring. This is why some older adults suddenly feel winded from tasks that used to be easy. By improving oxygen delivery and supporting red blood cell function, pumpkin seeds help the body stay more resilient and more capable of everyday movement. The result isn't dramatic as a supplement or a medication. It's gradual and natural, the kind of change that sneaks in quietly and shows itself in moments of extra strength and stability. But one of the most powerful effects of pumpkin seeds is their impact on inflammation. As people age, low-grade inflammation starts affecting the entire body. Muscles get sore more easily, joints feel more stiff, recovery takes long, and energy levels drop. A clinical study showed that pumpkin seeds could reduce muscle inflammation by up to 38% in just a few weeks. That kind of reduction can make a real difference in daily life. Less inflammation means less pain, less stiffness, and better mobility. It also means that the protein inside pumpkin seeds can be used more effectively by the body because an inflamed, stressed body doesn't build or preserve muscle as well. Another reason pumpkin seeds stand out is how easy they are to include in a daily routine. They don't require cooking, preparation, or complicated recipes. A handful sprinkled over oatmeal, blended into smoothies, mixed into yogurt, added to salads, or just eaten as a small snack is enough to support muscle health. For seniors who struggle with appetite or find large meals tiring, pumpkin seeds offer dense source of protein and minerals in a very small amount of food. The beauty of pumpkin seeds is that they don't demand big lifestyle changes. They slip naturally into the diet and quietly strengthen the body from the inside out. Most older adults don't expect that something so small could make such a noticeable difference. But once they start using them consistently, they often discover that their energy feels steadier, their muscles feel less fatigued, and their body feels a little more capable than before. They are one of those rare foods that deliver far more than they promise at first glance. And once someone truly understands their benefits, it's hard to imagine aging without them. Tempeh are one of those foods that most people have heard of, but never really considered, especially older adults who tend to rely on more familiar protein sources like eggs, chicken, or lentils. But tempeh quietly stands in a category of its own. With under 20 grams of protein per 100 grams, it doesn't just beat eggs. It exceeds them in a way that matters deeply for someone over 60, whose muscles are changing faster than they lease. The strength of tempeh isn't only in its protein content, it's in the way the protein is delivered. Tempeh are made from whole soybeans that have been naturally fermented, and that fermentation transforms it into something far easier for the body to absorb, break down, and use. As people age, digestion becomes less efficient, and the ability to extract nutrients from food weakens quietly over time. Tempeh steps in by offering protein that doesn't ask the digestive system to work as hard, and that alone can make a meaningful difference in how well the body maintains muscle. But the real magic lies in what fermentation does for gut health. Science now shows that the gut plays an enormous role in muscle preservation, inflammation, and overall energy levels. Older adults with healthier gut bacteria tend to retain more lean muscle, recover faster, and experience less chronic inflammation. A long-term clinical study found that seniors with better gut microbiomes kept about 8% more lean muscle over a year compared to those with weaker gut health. It's a striking difference, and it explains why foods like tempeh rich in natural probiotics have such an important place in an aging diet. When the gut becomes more balanced, everything from digestion to nutrient absorption to inflammation improves, and those improvements ripple outward into daily life in ways people rarely expect. What makes tempeh more valuable is that it offers a dense, steady form of protein without the heaviness or digestive strain that can come from other protein-rich foods. Many older adults notice that eating a large portion of meat leaves them feeling tired, bloated, or sluggish. Tempeh, on the other hand, tends to feel surprisingly light while still being incredibly filling. It allows someone to meet their protein needs even with a smaller appetite, something that becomes increasingly common with age. And because tempeh includes fiber, healthy fats, and a wide range of micronutrients, it supports not just muscle, but energy, immunity, and blood sugar balance, key factors in overall vitality. Another advantage of tempeh is its versatility. It can be baked, steamed, sautéed, crumbled, or marinated, absorbing flavors easily and fitting into any meal. For seniors who may struggle with tough meats or chewing difficulties, tempeh provides a softer, more manageable texture while still delivering substantial nourishment. It can replace meat in familiar dishes without feeling foreign or intimidating. Over time, many older adults discover that tempeh fits naturally into their routines, whether in stir-fries, hearty bowls, sandwiches, salads, or simple pan-fried slices. What tempeh represents is a shift in how we think about aging and strength. Most older adults assume their muscle loss is inevitable, just another part of getting older. But understanding foods like tempeh opens a new possibility, one where strength can be protected, energy can be steadier, and recovery can be quicker, simply by choosing proteins that work with the body instead of against it. Tempeh is gentle, nourishing, and surprisingly powerful, offering older adults a simple, natural way to stay stronger for longer. And once someone experiences how much better their body responds to it, it becomes clear that muscle health doesn't have to fade quietly with age. It can be supported, rebuilt, and sustained through choices that are both nourishing and accessible. Most people see quinoa as just another trendy grain that appeared on grocery store shelves in the last decade, but for older adults, it quietly offers something far more valuable than the hype suggests. Quinoa isn't just a carb or a side dish, it's one of the rare plant foods that provides a complete, high quality protein, about 14 grams per 100 grams cooked, meaning it contains all 9 essential amino acids the body needs but can't produce on its own. That's something even eggs can't claim at the same level of balance. And for someone over 60 who's trying to preserve muscle, maintain energy, and support recovery, the completeness of those amino acids matters in ways most people don't fully understand. As the body ages, it becomes less efficient at turning protein into muscle. That means not just any protein will do, you need protein that is highly usable, and quinoa offers exactly that. One of the standout amino acids in quinoa is lysine. Most grains are low in it, which is why they don't support muscle repair as effectively. But quinoa naturally contains a generous amount of lysine, and lysine plays an important role in rebuilding muscle fibers, producing collagen, and even helping the body absorb calcium more efficiently. These are the building blocks of strength, stability, and bone protection, three things that become increasingly fragile with age. Many seniors don't realize their declining balance or slower walking speed can sometimes be traced back to protein sources that simply don't give their muscles the tools they need to recover. Quinoa quietly fills that gap. It's also more digestible than many traditional grains, which can feel heavy or bloating for older adults. When quinoa is soaked overnight while cooking, something surprising happens. The anti-nutrients that would make grains harder to digest wash away, leaving behind a softer, lighter texture and a nutrient profile that absorbs more easily. That's a huge advantage for seniors who experience digestive discomfort or have smaller appetites. And because quinoa can be cooked in bone broth or low-sodium vegetable stock, you can boost the nutrition even further without adding extra work. What makes quinoa even more compelling is the research behind it. A recent study showed that seniors who ate quinoa daily saw measurable improvements in leg strength within 8 weeks, something that doesn't happen often because older muscles typically respond slowly. The participants didn't change their exercise habits or take costly supplements. They simply replaced a low-protein carb like white rice with quinoa, and their bodies responded with more stability, more strength, and more endurance. For many older adults, just being able to climb stairs without hesitation or get up from a couch without bracing becomes a meaningful improvement in their quality of life. Quinoa is also incredibly flexible, which makes it easier for seniors to incorporate consistently.
Ribs as a warm breakfast similar to oatmeal, but base for salads, substitute for rice, or filler in soups and stews. People who don't enjoy heavy meals or who feel full quickly often find quinoa comfortable and satisfying without being overwhelming. It blends into savory dishes or sweet ones, making it an easy addition no matter the time of day. The truth is, quinoa isn't just a modern, trendy food. It's a practical, powerful protein source that fits naturally into the lives of older adults who want to stay strong, maintain their independence, and support their health without relying on complicated diets or expensive supplements. It proves that sometimes the simplest additions to a plate can make the biggest difference in how someone feels, moves, and ages. Spirulina is one of those foods people often hear mentioned in passing, usually in health magazines or on the labels of supplements they don't fully understand. But very few older adults realize just how extraordinary it truly is for muscle preservation and overall vitality. At first glance, it doesn't look like much, just a deep green powder made from blue-green algae. But when you look closer, it becomes clear that spirulina is one of the most concentrated, highly absorbable protein sources that nature offers. With 29 grams of protein per 100 grams, it doesn't just outperform eggs, it surpasses most traditional protein foods altogether. But the real secret lies in how the body uses spirulina.
About 85% of its protein is bioavailable, meaning your body can absorb and use it far more efficiently than many other foods. For older adults whose digestive systems naturally slow down with age, that level of absorption can make a profound difference. As people grow older, one of the biggest challenges isn't just eating enough protein, it's absorbing enough of it. The body becomes less efficient, stomach acid levels decline, and muscle repair processes slow. Spirulina bypasses many of those challenges because it is incredibly easy for the body to digest. There's no fiber that needs breaking down, no tough structure to break apart. It acts almost like a direct infusion of amino acids that muscles can grab onto and use right away. For seniors struggling with muscle weakness, low energy, or slower recovery after physical activity, this rapid absorption can have a noticeable boost in how strong and steady they feel. Another remarkable aspect of spirulina is its anti-inflammatory power. Inflammation is one of the quiet forces behind aging muscles, cause tissues to become more sore, more fragile, and slower to repair. A recent study showed that spirulina reduced C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation, by 32% in older adults. That kind of reduction doesn't just affect muscle comfort, it affects everything from joint mobility to energy levels to sleep quality. Many seniors who begin using spirulina regularly find that they recover faster after activity, experience fewer aches, and feel more mentally alert. It doesn't act like a stimulant and said, okay, we'll give you 10 days. And I reckon that's a really good test. Let's just try it. And in 1 Thessalonians 5:21, the Bible says, prove all things. That's a challenge. Prove all things and hold fast, including iron, B vitamins, antioxidants, and phycocyanin, a rare compound that protects muscle cells from damage. These nutrients help oxygen circulate more efficiently, which plays an enormous role in physical stamina. Low oxygen delivery is one of the reasons many older adults experience sudden fatigue or shortness of breath during simple activities. By improving oxygen utilization, spirulina helps the body feel lighter, more capable, and more energized throughout the day. What often surprises people is how easy spirulina is to use. It doesn't require cooking, preparation, or digestion-heavy meals. A small spoonful added to a smoothie, yogurt, or juice can dramatically increase the nutritional value of a meal without increasing the volume of food. For seniors with small appetites or difficulty eating large portions, spirulina offers a convenient way to meet protein needs without feeling overly full. The quiet strength of spirulina lies not in its appearance, but in its efficiency. It delivers an enormous amount of nourishment in a small amount of food, making it perfect for older adults who want to support their muscles without eating large or heavy meals. It works gently but consistently, helping preserve muscle, reduce inflammation, and support energy in a way that feels natural rather than forced.
For many older adults, discovering spirulina feels like uncovering a missing piece of the puzzle, something simple, ancient, and incredibly effective that helps them feel stronger, clearer, and more alive as they age. Hemp seeds are one of those foods that sit quietly in the background, rarely talked about, rarely celebrated, yet carrying a strength that older adults often don't realize they need. They look small and soft, almost delicate, but inside those tiny shells is one of the richest, most complete sources of plant-based protein available. With 35 grams of protein per 100 grams, hemp seeds offer nearly 3 times the protein found in eggs. And unlike many plant proteins, which can be incomplete or harder for the body to use, hemp seeds contain all 9 essential amino acids in a naturally balanced form. That makes their protein not just abundant, but deeply usable, especially for someone whose body isn't processing nutrients as efficiently as it once did. As people age, fatigue becomes common, not always because they aren't eating enough, but because the quality of the nutrients they consume isn't meeting their body needs. Hemp seeds quietly fill those nutritional gaps. They provide protein that supports muscle repair, amino acids that help stabilize energy levels, and healthy fats that keep inflammation down. Many older adults experience a slow creeping tiredness that they attribute to age, but often it are muscles struggling to keep up, their cells fighting against chronic inflammation, and their body working harder than it should.
Hemp seeds bring relief in a way that feels simple and natural. Their proteins and fats help rebuild worn-down tissues, while their calming anti-inflammatory properties make movement feel easier and recovery feel smoother. What is especially powerful about hemp seeds is how easily the body digests them. Their soft texture and gentle composition make them one of the most senior-friendly protein sources available. They don't demand strong digestion like meat does. They don't cause bloating the way some legumes can, and they don't feel heavy or tiring. For older adults who struggle with appetite chewing or digestive discomfort, hemp seeds offer a way to increase protein intake without needing to eat a large, overwhelming meal. A small spoonful mixed into breakfast or added to a snack can support muscle health in a way that feels effortless. Research also shows that complete plant proteins like hemp help seniors maintain better muscle retention and experience less fatigue. That makes sense when you look at the nutrients inside the seeds. Along with protein, they carry omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids, nutrients that reduce inflammation, support joint comfort, and help keep the mind sharp. Many older adults don't realize how connected their muscles, joints, and energy levels are. When inflammation rises, everything becomes harder: standing up, walking, lifting, even thinking clearly. Hemp seeds gently reduce that burden, creating an environment where the body can preserve strength instead of breaking it down. Hemp seeds also contain minerals like iron, magnesium, and zinc, each playing its own role in keeping the body strong. Iron improves oxygen delivery. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation and recovery. And zinc aids tissue repair and immune function. Together, these nutrients create a foundation that helps older adults feel steadier, stronger, and more capable in their everyday lives. It's not dramatic or immediate, it's subtle, gradual strength, a kind that feels like stability returning from the inside out. And what makes hemp seeds especially appealing is how easily they fit into daily routines. They blend smoothly into oatmeal, yogurt, smoothies, salads, and even baked foods. They add a soft, nutty flavor but never overpower a meal. They work well for people who don't want to make big changes or adopt complicated diets. A simple habit, one spoonful a day, can support muscles, energy, and vitality in ways most older adults don't expect. Hemp seeds might not look powerful, but they are one of the most balanced, bioavailable sources of nourishment available, especially for someone navigating the natural challenges of aging. They have strength without heaviness, energy without strain, and nourishment without effort. And once someone begins using them consistently, it becomes clear how much difference a small daily seed can make in preserving independence, movement, and confidence as the years go by. Seitan is one of those foods that many older adults have heard of only vaguely, if at all. Yet it quietly stands among the highest protein foods available. It looks simple, almost like a dense piece of bread or a soft slice of meat substitute. But inside that unassuming appearance is an extraordinary protein horse that delivers 39 grams of protein per 100 grams. That's more than triple the protein of eggs, and far more concentrated than most meats seniors rely on. But what makes seitan especially valuable for someone over 60 is not just the amount of protein it provides, but how efficiently that protein can support muscle maintenance at a time when muscle loss accelerates more quickly than most people's feels. As the body ages, the process of building and repairing muscle becomes slower and more fragile. Many older adults believe they're eating a protein, but the truth is that their muscles require more support, not less. Seitan steps in as a powerful ally because its protein is dense, easy to work with in recipes, and incredibly satiating without being heavy or hard to digest. Many seniors struggle with appetite or feel full too quickly, making large portions of meat difficult to manage. Seitan, however, offers concentrated nourishment in a smaller serving, allowing older adults to meet their protein needs without overwhelming their digestive system or appetite. Another surprising benefit of seitan is how clean and minimal its composition is. Made primarily from wheat gluten, it contains very little fat and no cholesterol, making it a lighter alternative to meat while still delivering an almost unmatched amount of protein. For people who experience fatigue or sluggishness after heavy meals, seitan can feel like a relief, a protein source that supports strength without leaving the body weighed down. This is especially important for seniors trying to maintain activity level, because feeling heavy or tired after eating often leads to less movement, and less movement accelerates muscle loss even further. Research has shown that plant-based protein isolates seitan help older adults retain a significant amount of lean muscle over time. One study found that seniors using these kinds of proteins preserved up to 21% more muscle compared to those relying solely on traditional animal proteins. That difference can translate into something very real in daily life: steadier balance, stronger legs, easier walking, better posture, and a lower risk of falls. These may sound as simple things, but for someone in their 60s, 70s, or beyond, they shape independence, confidence, and quality of life. Seitan texture also plays an important role in its usefulness. Many older adults find chewing tougher meats challenging, or they avoid certain protein sources because they cause discomfort. Seitan, depending on how it is cooked, can be soft, tender, and easy to chew. It can take on the flavors of broths, marinades, and seasonings beautifully, making it adaptable for any palate. Whether sliced into stir-fries, crumbled into stews, grilled in soft strips, or simmer in savory sauces, it becomes a familiar and comforting addition to meals rather than an unfamiliar health food. What people often overlook is how much protein density matters as someone ages. Every bite counts more. Every meal becomes an opportunity to feed muscles that are fighting a natural but preventable decline. Seitan offers a way for older adults to give their body concentrated support without complicating their diet or forcing drastic changes in eating habits. It fits seamlessly into the foods they already enjoy, offering strength in a form that feels natural, approachable, and satisfying. In the end, Seitan proves that powerful nourishment doesn't need to be exotic or intimidating. It simply needs to be consistent, digestible, and rich enough to meet the body-changing needs. Once older adults discover how much easier it feels to maintain strength when seitan becomes part of their routine, it becomes clear that staying strong isn't just about eating more. It's about choosing foods that work with the body, not against it, and seitan is one of the quiet champions in that effort. Egg Parmesan is one of those foods most people enjoy for its flavor without realizing how nutritionally powerful it really is, especially for older adults who are trying to keep their muscles strong and functioning well.
People sprinkle it over pasta, shave it onto salads, or grate it into soups, but they rarely think of it as a serious protein source. Yet aged Parmesan contains an extraordinary 42 grams of protein per 100 grams, far surpassing eggs and even outperforming most meats. The richness of its protein isn't just about quantity, it's about how easily the body can absorb and use it. As cheese ages, something remarkable happens inside it. The proteins begin to break down into smaller, more digestible fragments. This natural aging process creates a food that requires less work from the digestive system while delivering more usable amino acids directly to the muscles. Older adults often don't realize how much their digestion changes with age. The stomach produces less acid, the intestines absorb nutrients less efficiently, and the muscles themselves become less responsive to the protein they eat. That's why many seniors feel like they are eating thin, but still losing strength year after year. A Parmesan bypasses many of these challenges. Its proteins are already partially broken down, making them easier for the body to process. A study found that older adults absorbed amino acids from aged cheese about 30% more efficiently than from meat proteins. That's a huge advantage for someone whose body is struggling to keep pace with natural muscle decline. What makes aged Parmesan even more unique is the balance of nutrients it contains.
Along with protein, it carries calcium, phosphorus, vitamin K2, and beneficial fatty acids that support muscle contraction, bone strength, and energy production. Many older adults don't realize how closely connected bone health and muscle health are. Strong muscles protect the bones, and strong bones support muscles. Aged Parmesan provides nutrients that work on both sides of that equation, helping create a more stable, resilient body. Someone who includes aged Parmesan regularly might not feel a dramatic change overnight, but they often begin to notice subtle improvements, better endurance while walking, more stability when getting up from a chair, or a little more power when climbing stairs. Another quiet strength of aged Parmesan is that it fits naturally into meals without requiring large portions. That's important because many seniors eat less than they used to, either because of appetite changes, chewing difficulties, or digestive discomfort. A few tablespoons of aged Parmesan can deliver a meaningful boost of protein without overwhelming someone with food volume. Its strong, nutty flavor means that even small amounts feel satisfying, and its versatility makes it easy to add to all kinds of dishes. Shaved over vegetables, melted into omelets, blended into soups, mixed into mashed potatoes, or eaten in thin slices, it adds protein without feeling like a processed supplement or a chore. Aged Parmesan also tends to be well tolerated by people who have mild lactose sensitivity because most of the lactose disappears during the long aging process. That means older adults who avoid dairy out of fear of bloating or discomfort can often enjoy Parmesan without issue. It provides the comfort and richness of dairy, but with more digestible proteins and fewer digestive challenges. What aged Parmesan really represents is an opportunity for older adults to feel strong without feeling restricted. It's a familiar food, comforting and flavorful, that quietly supports muscle preservation in ways people don't expect from something so simple. It offers dense, efficient nourishment in a form the body can easily use, helping replace the strength that aging gradually erodes. For many, it becomes a small daily addition that brings not just enjoyment, but a steady, reliable support system for their muscles, bones, and overall vitality. Dried fish powder is one of those foods almost no one talks about, yet it quietly stands at the very top of the protein world. Most older adults don't even know it exists, and that's part of what makes it so remarkable. It isn't sold in the flashy aisles of the grocery store, and it doesn't look dramatic or trendy. It usually tucked away in the international food section or available in small packets at specialty markets. But inside that simple powder is something unusually powerful, nearly pure protein. When lean white fish like cod is dried and finely ground, almost all the water is removed, leaving behind a concentration so dense that 100 grams of dried fish powder contain an astonishing 63 grams of protein.
For someone who has spent a lifetime believing that eggs or chicken are their best sources of strength, learning about this food is a revelation. As we age, one of the most important factors affecting independence and confidence is muscle mass. It doesn't disappear all at once, it fades, little by little, making everyday movements feel just a bit more difficult. Tasks that once felt automatic, getting out of bed, carrying groceries, climbing stairs, start to feel heavier. The body becomes slower to recover, and a simple stumble can lead to a dangerous fall. Proteins that are both high in quality and easy for the body to absorb become essential. This is exactly where dried fish powder becomes extraordinary. Its protein isn't just plentiful, it is remarkably bioavailable, meaning the body can use it efficiently, even if digestion has slowed with age. What sets dried fish powder apart is its purity. There are no fillers, no extra ingredients, no processing that strips away its nutrients. It's simply fish dehydrated into a form the body can access quickly. For seniors who struggle with appetite or who can't manage large meals, this is incredibly valuable. A few spoonfuls mixed into soups, stews, mashed potatoes, smoothies, or even sprinkled over rice to transform an ordinary dish into something deeply nourishing, without adding heaviness or discomfort. Older adults who often feel too full to eat enough protein suddenly have an option that gives them more support in a smaller bite.
The scientific research for this dried fish powder is even more impressive. In a clinical trial, seniors who added dried cod powder to their daily meals gained 19% more lean muscle in just 10 weeks. That kind of improvement is rarely seen in older populations because muscle typically responds slowly with age. Yet the body rebuilt strength quickly and noticeably simply because the protein source was so efficient and so deeply absorbable. Imagine what that means for someone who feels themselves slowing down, or for someone trying to regain strength after illness, injury, or long periods of inactivity. It becomes not just food, but a tool for restoring physical confidence and stability. There's also a comforting simplicity to dried fish powder. Unlike protein shakes that can taste artificial or supplements that feel clinical and intimidating, dried fish powder is natural, familiar, and easy to incorporate into everyday meals. It blends invisibly, which makes it wonderful for people who dislike the taste of strong protein sources or who are tired of eating the same foods again and again. It doesn't require cooking skills or digestive strength. It only requires consistency, and the body does the rest. Dried fish powder may not be as well known as yogurt, chickpeas, or quinoa, but it belongs at the top of the list for older adults who want to protect or rebuild their strength. It offers the highest concentration of protein in a form the body can use effortlessly. Supports muscle repair, energy, and stability without demanding large meals or complicated routines. And for many seniors, it becomes the missing link in their diet, the quiet, powerful ingredient that helps them remain active, independent, and capable as the years move forward. Stronger aging begins with choosing protein sources that nourish deeply, absorb easily, and quietly rebuild the muscle and vitality time tries to take away.